Now, a court in Nigeria has dismissed a bid by the central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele, in his request to not be prevented from contesting for the presidential ticket of any political party in the upcoming February elections. Mr. Emefiele wanted to restrain the Independent National Elections Board, the commission rather, and the country's Attorney General from disqualifying him from pursuing his political ambitions. In the meantime, the government has also ordered ministers who want to run for political office to resign before the 16th of May. Let's dig into the details of this story. Deji Badimosi joins us from Lagos in Nigeria. Deji, so just for the sake of context, for our viewers who may not be familiar with what the rules around contesting elections are in Nigeria, let's start with precedents on this particular matter. What are the precedents in case law, and what does the law say about civil servants chasing their political ambitions while they're still earning a salary from taxpayers?
Now, Rama, the Constitution here says that a civil servant who intends to run for any political office at all, including that of the president, would have to resign from that office, from the office that the public servant now is occupying, or civil servant, 30 days before the election. So in the case of the governor of the central bank, it would be 30 days before the presidential election. But then, in the case of the central bank governor now, it's not as straightforward as that, because the argument is that, look, that part of that section of the Constitution does not apply to him, because, I mean, there's this argument that, look, his position is a very sensitive one, and that by virtue of the position he occupies, he's not supposed to be a member of a political party, and that he's not supposed to play partisan politics. But, you know, the truth is that the CBN Act is not quite specific, so to speak, or it's not specific as to whether a 7 CBN governor is allowed to run for a political office. I mean, it's only implied. And so what the CBN governor is actually doing at the moment is to try to get the court to give him the all clear, to provide some kind of opinion now, or interpretation, if you like, to see if he could go ahead to contest. Because, but to be candid, this is causing a lot of confusion, and a lot of people are not happy with it. And they're basically saying, look, a lot of lawyers have said, going by the provision of the CBN Act, that the CBN governor should not be a partisan politician. He should not, as a matter of fact, be contesting in the election. That the only way he could do that is for him to resign right now, and that this rule of 30 days before the election should not apply to him. But let me just say this very quickly, Rama. There's also a new law that was actually passed by Parliament and signed by the President. Now, that law, it's still been debated. It's the Electoral Act, Section 8412 of the Electoral Act now. It says for any political appointee now, anybody holding a political position, I mean, anybody who has been appointed by the president, governors, and all of that, would have to resign to take part in even his party's nomination process. And so the governor wants, the CBN governor wants the court now to, you know, to say that that provision does not apply to him. So essentially, it's all confusing. But the bottom line is that the argument is that the CBN governor should not be a partisan politician, right, and he should not be taking part in any kind of politics at all. That what he should do is to resign first, and then he could go on to contest for any position he wishes to.
All right, so to secure the nomination form at party level, I understand candidates have to raise, the figure I've seen being bandied about is 100 million naira in order to pay for that nomination form. Now, that works out to roughly $250,000. For context for our viewers around the world, that's enough to get you an apartment or two here in Nairobi and quite a few other places in other capitals around Africa. That's a ton of money, Deji. What's the purpose of this fee?
Look, Rama, even in Nigeria, that's a huge amount of money. And let me just quickly say this. That fee is for the ruling party, the All Progressives Congress. For the PDP, the main opposition party here, that's the former ruling party, it's actually 40 million. I think you can understand why the ruling party has decided to price its nomination form so high, because quite a lot of people are actually showing interest. Quite a lot of people have picked the form. Let me surprise you, Rama. We have about 30 persons now that have picked that form, to contest, that have paid that amount of money. It's quite huge. Now, what the party has said is that that money will be used for the election campaigns, that it will eventually, when the party picks its candidates and the various positions now, whether for the presidency, Senate, House of Assembly, and what have you, that money will be distributed among the candidates now, and that's the money that will use to prosecute the election. But, truth is that the ruling party has been blasted criticized very badly for that huge amount of money. And people have actually accused the party of monetizing politics and, depriving a lot of people from taking part in the political process. But then the party has actually stuck to its guns now, saying that it had to do that because it would need money to prosecute the elections, and that it wouldn't want to depend, for instance, on donors, and would not want to dip its hands in government funds to prosecute elections. So, and that's the reason why it's decided to peg its nomination form now at such a high price. But to be candid, Rama, if you ask me, I think that's really high, and it's actually unprecedented in the history of party politics in this country.
Indeed, that's roughly, if I have my math right, that's about $7.2 million just from the 30 candidates that you've mentioned. So let's get back to the governor, though, Godwin Emefiele. Assuming he does run for the nomination, what then happens to daily operations at the central bank? Is there a clear favorite, or is there a clear process for him to be replaced by one of the 4 deputy governors?
Look, this has never happened before. We've never had a situation where a serving governor of the central bank would go on to contest. I don't think there's any favorite in place. I don't think it's something that has been discussed at the moment. And to be candid, it's difficult to see how the governor can run. But we just have to wait and see, because the case will come up tomorrow. The court has ordered the Attorney General and the Independent National Electoral Commission to appear before it and to show cause why, for instance, the CBN governor should not be allowed to contest. But we just have to wait and see how that process plays out. But essentially, literally, what the CBN governor is asking the court to determine is to allow him, to run and at the same time retain his position as CBN governor. Because that's exactly what he's asking the court to do for him. So he wants to remain as CBN governor while running for the position of the president of this country, taking part in the nomination process of his party. This is something that has never happened before, Rama. So let's wait and see if the court would give him the go-ahead to do that. If the court does, then it will be a first in this country.